Welcome to Speed Talking with Fora, a weekly debrief that keeps you up to date on the latest trends in travel. Here's your host, Henley Vazquez.
Hi, everyone. I'm Henley. I'm the co-founder of Fora, a new kind of travel agency aimed at empowering anyone who loves travel to become a travel professional. So today I have a different kind of podcast. You can see we're in a different setting. And we also have a guest here, Hicham Alaoui, who is the co-founder of Experience Morocco, our best partner on the ground in Morocco. And he has just flown in, and we're going to be talking today about what's recently happened in Morocco, what to know about what's going on ground there, and then also really what to know about sort of natural disasters in travel and how we as travelers and as travel advisors can help. We all know Morocco recently rocked by a 6.8 magnitude earthquake, the strongest to hit the area in more than a century. We also know that recently we've seen a lot of other terrible disasters in places we love around the world. So wildfires in Canada, in Greece, in Maui, of course. We've seen earthquakes in Turkey. And I think what we're hearing a lot is people saying, how can I help? What can I do? Let's talk first about tourism in these destinations and what tourism does to these destinations in a regular way. Maui, compared to any other destination in the US, Maui is one of the places that's most, or Hawaii in general, one of the places that's most reliant on tourism. So at 25% of the state's economy, and they are really trying to grow this. Morocco, as an example, had a record number of arrivals in the first part of 2023. We have seen it rebounding hugely since the pandemic. And I can say as a travel advisor, lots of requests were there, lots of people heading there, and lots of people loving there. So when something terrible happens in a place and tourism vanishes, that hurts. And when it comes back, that helps. I think the theme around here right now has really been to go is to give. And so we look back historically at Nepal, which also, as you remember, in 2015 had a terrible earthquake. Tourism sunk. It was awful. And then it came back, and actually arrivals have picked up, surpassed the numbers they've had before, and really helped the country recover from the disaster and bring in more people to support local economies and local communities. Now, we get it. It's normal to rethink your holiday plans when you hear the news about something awful happening somewhere. And I think it's also normal to say, do they want me there right now? Like, when is too soon to go? The important thing about having a travel advisor, of course, is you ask them and they talk to their partners in places, but also do your research. If you don't have a travel advisor, or if you are a travel advisor, call the hotel, ask them what's going on, ask them if they're open for business, ask if they want travelers there, because the answer often is different than what you might be seeing on the news. So today, what I really want to talk about is right from the mouth of someone who knows best what is going on in Morocco and what we as travelers and travel professionals should be doing. Hicham, thank you so much for joining. What is happening right now in Morocco?
Thanks for having me. What's going on right now in Morocco is a lot of misunderstanding and I think incorrect assessment of the ground. And so I'm happy to have this opportunity to address some of the issues that we're hearing about and give some answers anchored in the reality of the place. The facts are that indeed, as you mentioned, we had a severe earthquake that hit a concentrated part of Morocco, which is the High Atlas Mountains. That's where it really hit the hardest, and there has certainly been a real impact in terms of the communities there. The silver lining in this catastrophe for us is, one, the solidarity that has been shown by the Moroccans. Before we get into foreign visitors or foreign help, the level of commitment that ordinary Moroccans have shown to helping that part of the country get back on its feet has been nothing short of historic and amazing, which has been really encouraging to see that level of folks coming together. Just one specific example is we've always had a shortage of blood reserves in the country. And now, for the first time ever, we have an excess in blood banks in the country. So that's been quite encouraging. Now, let's get into the myths and misconceptions. Number one is the whole country is in rubble. The epicenter of the earthquake was in, again, the High Atlas Mountains, which is about an hour to 2 hours outside of Marrakesh. And indeed, in that part of the country, there are villages that unfortunately have been severely impacted, in some cases reduced to ashes, like the whole villages. It's quite serious, but that is, I would say, 1% of the territory, if that. So if you look at the typical foreign visitors to Morocco, they want to see Fez, they want to see the desert, they want to see Chefchaouen, the Blue Village, they want to see Casablanca, Rabat, they want to see Marrakesh. Obviously, in some cases, it's the cities along the coast. Everything I just mentioned there is perfectly fine. And yet if you look at the media portrayal, you would think that the whole country has been devastated by the earthquake. On an emotional level, yes, but in terms of physical infrastructure, absolutely not. So that's one. The other one is, am I going to be safe? As you mentioned correctly, this is the biggest earthquake in 100 years. From the likelihood of having another earthquake, I would argue Morocco is the safest place on earth right now. We just had a big one. It's not going to happen over again. It's good. Another common question we're getting is, am I safe? And we actually are in touch with geologists who have told us, and when I say we, it's not Experience Morocco, but the Moroccan authorities, who have reassured us that, again, Morocco is not an earthquake-prone area, that this was very much a fluke, and it's not likely to happen anytime soon. So that's the safety piece. There's another element of the safety piece, which is just, are these structures where I'm going architecturally sound? All right. Has my hotel been shaken such that there's a risk of collapse? And again, the good news is we had a severe earthquake in 1960, after which building codes were quite seriously revised to make sure that buildings are earthquake proofs in the big cities, and in all of the areas that I mentioned earlier, Fez, Marrakesh, the cities by the coast. But yes, the Atlas Marathon villages are built using more traditional techniques. They're mud huts. So unfortunately, there was a lot of damage there. But in terms of where you're likely to stay, where we put any of your guests, there's no issue with the architectural integrity of the buildings or anything along those lines.
Some of the top hotels that we see people booking, so La Mamunia, Four Seasons Casablanca,
all the usual suspects, everyone is
open for business
after having an architectural inspection of the property to make sure. But yes. Another misconception you mentioned earlier, am I taking resources away from those who need them? And while we appreciate the sentiment, the honest truth is you're not. In fact, it's quite the opposite. We have, unfortunately, seen a wave of people wanting to cancel their trips, and that's the single worst thing you can do for Morocco right now. The country in general lives off of tourism. It's about 12% of our GDP. It's quite significant. If you zoom in on the parts of the country that were most impacted by the earthquake, that's actually significantly higher, meaning the importance of tourism in the Atlas Mountains is significantly higher than everywhere else. The single best thing you can do to help the country right now is travel. If you have a trip on the books, please keep your trip on the books. And if you haven't, I'd actually encourage you to consider traveling to Morocco. So that's another one. Again, am I being insensitive to travel to Morocco right now? No, you're not. The entire population is aligned on this message of, if you want to help us, please come visit.
Yeah. And I think that is really important. And if you don't believe us, a great thing to do is go onto Instagram, look location wise and see who's there. Because one of the things we were just talking about is there's another travel advisor who we both know, and he's in Marrakesh, and he was posting videos and showing, like, you think the city's not up for business? Look at it. This is, everybody's out. People are around. Restaurants are open. They actually want business. They want people to come back because that is how we support. And I think what's a really good point too is, if you don't have a trip on the books yet, and you're asking, like, what could I do? Go, and how are the prices right now?
Yeah, good. Yeah. Yeah. So come and travel. And again, just to I want to make sure I'm clear about this. A lot of the folks who are from those villages in the Atlas Mountains are living in Marrakesh and working in tourism. So when we say support Morocco, it's not like a theoretical thing. Like, literally, by helping the local economy, particularly the folks in Marrakesh, that is having a direct impact on helping the Atlas Mountains. Obviously, if we have had requests from travelers who are coming to Morocco soon and who want to contribute directly to NGOs, and we welcome that. But just traveling alone already is really having an impact in helping folks send money back home.
Yeah. And we're hearing this too from Maui. Now that we're talking a lot about the earthquake, but the fires aren't long ago at all. And those hotels are reopened, and they are actually doing promotions saying, come and we'll donate your resort credit to local charities. Come, our workers want to come back to work. One of the hotels, the Montage in Maui, hasn't yet reopened. It's about to. The reason they're not reopened is that they've been housing families of employees who lost their homes. So that's the exact kind of hotel that you do want to go back to and support when they're ready to reopen. There's no damage to the property. It's all just because they're doing this wonderful thing. So I think it's really important to understand, like, why something is happening rather than just hearing that hotel is closed, this isn't happening. But the ones that are closed in Morocco, moving back to the Atlas Mountains, Casbah Tamada, which we know and love, will be closed for the foreseeable future right now,
yes,
correct?
Correct.
And what would you say to somebody who had a trip planned that they were planning to do some hiking in the Atlas Mountains? Are you guys moving them to somewhere else? Are there properties that are still functional, or is it like, just hold on there for now?
Okay, let me break that down into two parts. We have, I'd say, three kind of main partners in the Atlas Mountains. Casbah Tamada is definitely chief among them, and we're sad to see the property sustain damage. And our best estimates right now are that'll be a couple of months, maybe more, for them to reopen. For clients who had booked stays at Casbah Tamada, yes, we're offering them other properties. There are other options in the Atlas Mountains. There's also the option of just extending your stay into Marrakesh, particularly for those who were initially going to be in the Medina. There's a variety of really nice resort options in Marrakesh that are outside the city, so you're getting something of a different flavor. As far as hiking in the Atlas Mountains are concerned, that's really driven driven by our team of mountain guides. As soon as they tell us that it is sensibly okay, or that we're not going to be offending anyone by coming and doing the hikes, we will resume. As of now, the indications we've gotten are going to be that as soon as 2 weeks from now, we'll go back, right? Again, the mountain guides want to be able to run their business. They want to be able to help the economy. And the best way to do that is to welcome people back. So we will be resuming the hikes in the Atlas Mountains quite soon. As far as the stays are concerned, again, there's a couple of properties there that are still open, but some of those specifically will be shut for the foreseeable.
Yeah, and we'll be thinking about them. And it really is one of the most special places on earth. And it is the part of my first trip to Morocco that I think my kids talk about the most is their trip to the Atlas Mountains and hiking up through the mountains and going to a local family's home and meeting them and having tea with them. And these experiences are all going to come back.
Yep.
And what you can do right now is go back and support this amazing country and be there as things are happening and watch the news. We'll be here to tell you what's going on. If you have questions, hit up a travel advisor, ask us. We're here to answer and really to just encourage everybody. Remember, to go is to give. That is the best way to spend your dollars, is be there, be present, and be thankful for the opportunity to visit an amazing place like Morocco.
Thank you so much.
So thank you, Hicham, for joining. And you know what? We've been saying at the end of episode, we're going to talk about this next week. And you know what happens is I change it every time. And I drive everybody crazy by changing it. And then we have to re-record me saying next week we'll talk. So this time, I don't know what we're going to talk about next week, but it's going to be fun. So see you then.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't travel too far before hitting follow and subscribe. Check in next week for the newest episode of Speed Talking with Fora, and our take on what's currently happening in the wild world of travel.